Hi. I want to tell you a little bit about our value here at Hope of growing maturity. There's this general sense, this general disposition in our culture that kind of the best part of your life is at the beginning, that you sort of peak when you are young and it's kind of just downhill from there. That maturity is something stagnant and it's just unmoving, and really worst of all, maturity is boring, and so avoid it at all costs. You don't want to go there. And if we were honest, if we kind of searched our feelings, I think a lot of us bring that same sort of perspective into our spiritual lives, where we sort of see that kind of that passion that we had when we first encountered Jesus, when we first met Jesus, that fire that was there, that we see that that's we kind of have this perspective thinking that that's like the best it's going to be, that that's the height of our spiritual experience, and that our job for the rest of our spiritual lives is sort of to cling on to or to get back to that passion that we had at the beginning. And I think if we looked at our feelings towards spiritual maturity, I think some of us look at spiritual maturity with the same sort of wary skepticism that we look at, just kind of maturity in general, where we see spiritual maturity is something that'll happen to you if you're not careful. If you don't keep that, that young passion going, and the spiritual maturity comes and it makes you stagnant and irrelevant and really kind of detaches you from where the spiritual action is. But of course, that's not the perspective on spiritual maturity that the writers of the New Testament had. The word that the New Testament writers used to describe maturity is this Greek word teleos. And teleos is the word for something that has gone through this process of growth until it has reached its consummated fulfillment, that it's lacking in nothing in regard to what it was intended to be. In other words, teleos is the word for something that has truly become all that it can become, that it's truly reached its full potential. And as followers of Jesus Christ, Paul tells us that we have the potential to grow into the whole measure of the fullness of Christ. We have the potential to be like Jesus, all of Jesus, not just kind of like Jesus, but totally, completely, through and through, 100% like Jesus, to the full measure of Jesus. That's what we have the potential to become. And that's what spiritual maturity really is. It's this life where our internal disposition is just permeated by the fruits of the Spirit, where our external lives, what we're doing, is empowered by the gifts of the Holy Spirit. And in everything that we do, we're able to maintain this coordinated step-by-step connection with the Holy Spirit and whatever the Holy Spirit is doing in our lives and around us. And this is our desire. This really is a hunger that is at the core of who we are here at Hope Christian Fellowship. We really desperately want to become a church that is continually growing in spiritual maturity. We want to have the fruits of the Spirit and the gifts of the Spirit all working together. We want to be walking in step with the Holy Spirit. And so everything that we do, all of our activities that we do here at the church really are for the purpose of growing each other up into spiritual maturity. So what do you think? What about the idea of spiritual maturity is attractive to you? Or do you see spiritual maturity as something that'll get in the way and actually end up slowing you down? We'd love to hear what you think. You can leave a comment below and we'll get the conversation started.